Good evening and welcome. Today is Wednesday, October the 21st, 2020, and this is the City of Anderson Board of Architectural Review. First item on the agenda. Again, anything to add?
I have one brief item to add at the end of the meeting.
At the end of the meeting, very good. Then we'll move right into the public hearings, first being VAR 2024. Jeff.
This item came before the board last month, the request for solar panels on the house at 110 North Avenue in the North Anderson Historic District. Again, the property is a single-family residence. They are seeking to add solar panels on the accessory structure at the back of the property. It is a side sloping roof, and so the panels are visible looking that direction and looking that direction. At the meeting last month, there was no motion to approve pending some additional research and feedback from the board regarding solar panels and how to treat them. We have had a conversation about that, and you have sort of, they're not part of the design guidelines, but they are sort of staff guidance on how we can handle solar panels going forward. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have for staff. I do not believe the applicant is present at the moment.
Okay. As Jeff indicated, and we all know, we have met, thoroughly reviewed guidelines for the installation of solar panels in various historic districts, actually throughout the country. We've got a great deal of research. We spent a lot of time on that, considering this very important issue. And as a result of that, developed some worksheets for us to go by. They're not a part of our guidelines because that would require city ordinance to adopt them. But nonetheless, as we wanted and discussed last meeting, we wanted to have a framework to how to review these applications. I believe everyone's had an opportunity to review those. The material that Jeff drafted up as a result of our discussions. Anything further to add regarding that outline? All right, so with that, any further discussion? I believe everyone should be familiar with the application, the details of it. Thoughts, comments?
I have one.
Bill.
As you look at the drawing here on the screen, the one panel is not concentric with the others. Is there a reason? Is there, yeah, right there. Is there some type of structure there, or pipe, or vent pipe or anything?
Does not appear to be from an aerial photo. There we go. From this photo, there does not appear to be anything that is in the way. So I don't know if it's just a technical issue with the design, or that's sort of the power allotment that they were looking for, and that's how many panels you needed. I'm not exactly sure about why that particular configuration. One of the things we did talk about was having them in a rectangular configuration, distance from the edges of the roof line. With the exception of that one missing panel there, it would seem to meet all of those requirements. So.
And the applicant's not here at the moment.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, you're here.
Oh, okay.
With the mask, it's difficult. Thank you. Could you address that for us, please?
Yes, the reason that one panel left was open is they based it based on your need for solar. So that is, we didn't need to have that other panel. And they also need to be able to get up on the roof to do maintenance or checking mechanics.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. And also, you know, as we saw in the other guidelines, it's really the jagged edges that we found most inappropriate and appealing. Here, while it's not a complete rectangle, it does seem to make sense, and it's not that jagged edge that we've seen. Other comments? Questions? Concerns? Is
The application is for a low profile.
That's correct.
Can I get a little bit more clarity on what a low profile panel is?
Great, Jeff.
Basically, with the way the new guidance reads is that it'd be 6 inches or less from the top of the solar panel to the top of the shingle on the roof. And that allows some distance for ventilation underneath the panel, and then the actual height of the panel above that.
Thank you.
And this application meets those.
I believe that is correct, yes.
Anything further? Is there a motion?
Either one of us.
Okay, a motion from Andy, second from Bill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much for your patience, giving us the opportunity to research this very important issue that will no doubt be coming before us. As the guidance sheets indicate, they will be taken on a case-by-case basis, looking at all the surrounding circumstances, but this document now gives us the ability to do that in a uniform manner. And I thank you for your patience, and Jeff, as always, we thank you for your hard work. Moving on now to BAR 2027.
The applicant is requesting approval to construct a new single-family home on the lot at 415 Westview Avenue in the North Anderson Historic District. The lot is currently vacant. The applicant is seeking to construct a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a 2-car garage. The house would have cement board siding, shakes in the gable, vinyl prairie-style windows, and a wooden front door. The house would have the following color scheme. Silver mist would be the body of the house. Snowbound is the trim, and Holmberg gray, the gables and the dinette jut out. And you have all this information in your packet, but you have the site plan here showing the trees remaining up front, the driveway down the side of the property there on the right-hand side. You have the front view here of the house. You have shingles, cement board siding. You have the side of the house. This actually flipped. Okay. So this would be, because the driveway is really on the other side. So this is the front, this is the back. The garage entrance is on the other side of the building there. They have information about the shingles, siding, and cement board siding. Color scheme. Again, the main body of the house, the trim, and then the gables and the dinette jut out. The windows, what this shows is the windows with the grid in between the panes of glass. We did speak before the meeting about having something on, so you have the exterior mullions on there instead of just in between the panes of glass. The front door is a wood door with glass. The back door, they're looking at something like a half glass wood rear door. Some molding details, and then the brick base. It is built on a foundation, it's not on a slab, which would seem to meet the requirements of to be similar to those houses in the district. We have not done a house in the historic district in my time here, and so I copied the whole section for us. I'm not going to read through all that, but the whole section on infill development as it relates to materials and matching the surroundings in terms of setbacks and those sorts of things as well. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have for staff, and applicants are here as well tonight.
Very good, thank you. If you recall, several months ago, the applicant was thoughtful enough to give us a little heads up, preview, and now come forth with the application of one of the suggested designs. Comments?
Design?
Design is really,
Mary Lou, go ahead.
I think the design is really nice. I'm your backyard neighbor, I'm going to say. I walk around and the neighborhood and just try to get lived in there a long time, but I think the design of this house will blend in really nicely, and I like the details that really add to me, add character to the house.
Agreed. Bill, what do you?
I like the design of the house, it looks very pretty. I have one little question. The reveal on the lap siding, is it gonna be 4-inch, 6-inch, 7-inch?
80.
It's
8-inch.
Reveal is about 7 inches.
Very nice. Other comments?
This presentation, it makes it so much easier, and thank you for doing such a comprehensive one.
So Jeff, you mentioned the windows. Did they agree to do the outside grid?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Is it necessary?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Before this board, yes, sir.
Okay.
You'll be glad you did.
It won't look right.
Yeah.
I know, I also know that, from the colors on the board, because everything was done in black and white, I actually brought samples of what the house will look like if you guys would like to see that. I painted it on the board.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, big difference.
Yeah, it is a big difference.
That's great. Okay.
This is the brick that I had picked out as well.
Okay.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Yes. Very nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
Gotta work well there.
Yeah, this will be good looking. Or gray. It's good.
Yeah. Excellent. All right.
This is so helpful. It really is. John.
If there's nothing further, is there a motion?
So moved.
Oh,
I'd
sorry.
like to ask one more
Oh,
question.
certainly, Billy.
Are you planning to replicate the trim details around the windows from this photograph?
This is really a photograph when we were on vacation up in Myrtle Beach that we took a picture of, and we said, oh my gosh, that looks like the house that we want to build on that lot.
Right.
So I just snapped a picture of it. So to be honest with you, I don't really remember what the trim around that looks like. We would love to do just flat craftsman style trim around the windows. Would that be fine? Would that
Yeah,
work?
I was just going to say that's what makes this really look nice is the trim details in that photograph. So I think you kind of lose it in the sketch here, but if there were trim around the windows that matched this photograph, I think it would really help capture that style. So yeah, flat trim.
This is exactly what we would like to do. So
Yeah.
okay, great, thank you.
And you think there will not be a need for a handrail? You think it'll be low enough, the porch will be low enough where you won't need a handrail on the porch?
Yeah, it should be under 30 inches. That's kind of the look we were looking for, it's not have a handle.
Okay. Good, thank you.
And the steps in the front of the brick as well.
They can be, yeah, really, okay, or they could be wood or the deck up on the porch is gonna be wood. So it would go along with the downward steps.
Yeah.
That's it.
Very good.
What's
Sorry.
the shingles made out of? The shakes.
Excuse me.
The shakes.
They'll be the same party board.
Oh,
All right. We have a motion from Moyer, second from Jill. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We look forward to following your construction.
Yeah, that's good, all right, well, thank you so much for y'all's help.
Now on to VAR 2028. Here we go.
The applicant is requesting approval for a new rear deck and door on the property at 420 Blair Street in the North Anderson Historic District. The property is a single-family residence. The applicant is seeking to add a new deck on the back of the house. The deck will be constructed with pressure-treated wood, composite decking materials, and vinyl rails. This would be the back here. You see the new deck, the stairs. Be cutting in a new door up to access the deck as well here. And goes down to the ground level at the bottom. The decking would be gray with white rails. The house also has a combination of vinyl and aluminum siding on it. The applicant is removing the siding material from the front and would like to replace it with new vinyl. Basically, we're considering this a maintenance request. There is one little difference. The current siding is a 7-inch lap, and the new material is actually a 5-inch lap from a subsequent conversation with the contractor. Board has a policy of allowing staff approval for vinyl replacement, provided it is in matching color and size. This is before the board because it is a change from the original material. So what you'll end up with is 3 sides of the house with aluminum siding with that 7-inch lap, and then the front side would have vinyl siding, all in white. This is the same as the rest of the house. It will be a 5-inch lap instead. The problem, as told to me by the contractor, is that you cannot get the vinyl in the same size lap as the aluminum on the rest of the house. And so it's very hard to get apparently aluminum siding. And so that's why the requested change goes from that larger size to the smaller size. And so we could consider it ordinary maintenance, but due to that change, we wanted to run it by the board just to make sure. And so there's 2 issues before the board tonight, the deck on the back and then the siding change on the front. Along with the change on the front, you have this section here, which is backboard siding. They would like to go to vinyl shakes in that section as well. The statement was just they wanted to more sort of accentuate that feature of the house and thought they would make it a little more attractive on the property. So again, 2 questions related to that. When reviewing this portion of the application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 3, Rehabilitation of Historic Resources. Following sections apply to this request. Preserve primary historic building materials whenever feasible. Retain and preserve original wall and siding materials. And do not cover or obscure original facade materials. It goes on to say original materials that have deteriorated over time should be repaired rather than replaced whenever possible. Then replace original materials in kind when repair is not an option. In terms of the deck on the back, it says to preserve a porch in its original condition and form, repair any existing porches instead of removing or replacing them, and then replace the missing porch with one that appears similar to that seen historically. The board must decide if the proposed changes meet the above criteria. Happy to answer any questions you have for staff, and the applicant is here tonight as well.
Very good, thank you. So first, as to the front of the house, essentially this, if I hear you correctly, it's a maintenance issue before us only because of the difference of the size.
Correct.
The replacement of vinyl or aluminum siding, replacement of it through maintenance is permissible. It's just the size is not available in that exact same size again. But this would be the entire front of the house.
Right.
It'd be consistent there.
Yes.
Okay. As to the front.
Can we see the front?
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
the front picture back up, please.
What about policy number 324?
You can see where they removed the original siding, or the existing siding from the front already. They hadn't gotten to that section, but by. And
Jeff.
yes.
Okay, we have Jill.
Looking at the guidelines, the first page, policy replace original building materials in kind. It says 3.24, do not use synthetic materials such as aluminum or vinyl siding or panelized bricks as replacements for primary building materials on a historic structure.
But that would be replacing with different material as we have the vinyl, the aluminum now. Is that right, Joe?
Right, it's already been covered up before, and we've talked about this in the past with our attorney, that this would be classified as a maintenance item. So similar to if they had to replace a wood board on the house, that would be maintenance. We now consider the replacement of existing vinyl with new vinyl to be a maintenance item. And so if he came in and this house was all wood sided today, and asked to put vinyl on it, that would not be maintenance, and that section would apply. We would not allow them to put new vinyl on a house that had not had it previously. But since it already had that synthetic material on it previously, we consider it maintenance.
But the gable end does not have currently, right? That's wood.
That is correct.
So if we allowed vinyl on top of wood for that.
That's not maintaining the original.
So, on the, can we go back to the siding for just a minute? So is that just currently not available in that width, or they no longer make that?
Mr. Crooks, who's the contractor, said that they do not make it in that size. It is not available. And so that seems to be a permanent situation, not a just, they're out of it at the moment type of question, so.
Would not concrete board with the 7-inch reveal match much better than the vinyl with the shorter, narrow reveal?
Then what you end up with is sort of a hodgepodge of materials on the house. You'll have three sides that will still have the synthetic siding, and then another side with a completely different material again. And so it's probably sort of a 50-50 thing.
You'd be matching the width.
You would be matching the width a little better. And it's still not original materials, from what was on the house.
I mean, I obviously, this is not ideal situation, but under the maintenance circumstances, seems to be fairly close. Amanda?
The new material would be 4 inches, right?
It's actually 5. I had another conversation with the contractor and had that correction made. So.
And what is there, the aluminum siding is 7, right?
Right.
And what is the board that they're taking off? Or the front? Oh, they're taking off
The 7.
7.
Right.
My issue is 5. I don't, even vinyl siding nowadays, 5 is just not very big at all. And this same vinyl, even if it was 8 instead of 7, it would be closer to the, what's on the side and the back. Is it not available in a different size?
That I'm not positive. I do not know if it is, other sizes that may be bigger, I'm not sure.
Can you show us the picture of the front of the house now, as it is? Okay, so what is on the gable side now?
Batten board.
Okay.
No, the siding.
Siding board, the siding.
That is a 7-inch.
That is aluminum siding?
Right, that's what they're taking off the front, is that right there. And so that will be replaced, that 7 will be replaced with 5.
What is the width of the original wood that's on here? Do you know that?
Now, you can see it on here, but this actually has, it's pretty narrow, because this is actually a little trim piece at the bottom, which I think they needed to do to, when they put the siding on originally. This is a little trim piece below each of the siding boards. You can see on there. There's like a little additional strip below each board.
My issue is with 5 and 7, that 2 inches, and you add that going all, it's a totally different look. It's 1 inch difference, and I'm thinking that I bet there is vinyl, since it's a maintenance issue, that there is vinyl that is 6 or 8, something closer.
No, I think Mr. Crooks has told us, and I'm not sure, but he said that it's not vinyl to that width that you're talking about.
There was vinyl on part of that house that was the 4-inch vinyl. or the 5-inch vinyl?
The
already?
vinyl that was already on is in the porch area,
Had already been removed
the
and replaced
overhang.
with 5-inch vinyl.
So it had 5-inch vinyl already.
So like under
5-inch
here,
vinyl was removed and
but
5
not the whole front, right?
It was on, from the whole inside of the porch and down the right side was vinyl.
Before the one on the right-hand side was vinyl.
So like in here,
That side of the wall across.
so from here all the way across was 5-inch?
It's going to show tremendously.
Is probably the post, the post there, that side, and then the other side of the part of
Okay. So the front end was even a mix of materials, 5-inch and 7-inch on the front previously, so.
And this is bringing it a consistent, cohesive front facade.
Right.
All right, let's discuss that. Let's move to the front gable. Oh, yeah, sure.
Gable, I'm sorry,
Okay,
that's what I was-
yeah, I was gonna take it in section there.
So that's what's there currently, and they're looking at is a vinyl shape in that area to replace it.
Why?
As it was stated to me, was to better accentuate that, make it a more appealing design of the house, is how it was stated to me by the contractor.
This house is really cute. I pass it every day because I live on Edgewood Avenue. So I'm up and down Blair Street like every day. And this house has always been really cute to me because it has that board and batten and that little scallop ditch. That's what makes this house stand out on that street to me.
I agree. The little scallop at the bottom continues over on the, over the porch, correct?
Yes,
I agree, Jill, that's kind of what makes it.
It's what makes the
it look
house.
different. And a nice look.
Anything to add as to why the replacement of the board and batten?
It's not in very good shape.
It's not in very good shape. It's a maintenance issue again.
All the wood is rotten.
It is somewhat similar to the house we just looked at. I mean, the shape, again, to us, I mean, it's an investment home. We want to make it better. We think that this, again, is a maintenance issue for us. It will be a maintenance issue for us in 5 years. And so that is all we will change.
Okay.
I think that using a vinyl shingle over the wood would be not in line with our guidelines because we're allowing a synthetic material to cover up the original material. I understand that the siding on the house that's considered maintenance. But
Mary Lou?
I mean, if we were to allow vinyl in the gable, I mean, there are vinyl board and batten profiles that could be explored as opposed to the shake profile. And I'm fairly certain you can get a 7-inch vinyl siding product. He might not be able to get it from where he wants to get it, but I'm pretty sure that's a readily available exposure for vinyl siding. If we feel that's what needs to be done to match the reveal in the front.
Okay, let's continue discussions as to the back. Got it.
This is the back now. So they'll be putting in, looks to be French doors here, and then the new deck, composite material on the deck, vinyl rails, stairs going down, the new doors here at that location.
Addition of a deck,
White rails, gray deck.
addition of a deck we've done and seen before.
We've done
Any
vinyl.
comments?
Have we done vinyl rails before?
This is composite,
The composite,
like church.
That's the deck,
the deck.
the vinyl railing.
Right, vinyl railings, the composite material on the decking.
Composite material looks just like wood, you really can't tell once it's down.
Good product.
But the vinyl railing, she stands out like a sore thumb.
We have not done vinyl railing.
No, we have not.
The vinyl,
The vinyl railings stand like a sore thumb compared to the wood railing. And you see it when you walk up to it, you really notice the difference.
They do make the metal, there are other options. I know we've used a lot with clients recently, and it's the metal, the same look and everything in metal, or also in composite. And I think the metal in some cases is more affordable even, cost effective than the vinyl.
Thoughts as to why the vinyl as opposed to composite or metal?
Contractor
Contractor.
gave us the design. I mean, it worked for us. It is not visible from anywhere.
You can't even see it.
Love
If you
the
go
drama.
down, my friend who lives on, goes down Blair Street, you go down, Glenwood, you can't even see the back. Nobody sees it.
He thought it would look nice and.
Sure.
Not visible.
We went with it.
But I don't believe we've ever passed a vinyl fencing, and this isn't fencing, but it's railing.
Right.
Which
Which
would
would make people take down their vinyl fences before.
Yeah.
and as you're thinking back to the one we approved just now, the new construction, if they have vinyl on their porch, would we approve that?
No.
And that's new construction as well as this, that's how I'm kind of thinking.
All right, some other comments?
I've just not ever seen the vinyl railing that ages well. I've seen it sort of yellows and it splits and breaks
Correct.
easily. So I think it would be creating a maintenance problem to allow it. But
Is there some modification and design or materials that you might want to consider?
Okay, so basically what I'm hearing is the railing can be changed, or needs to be changed. What about the front of the house?
Yeah.
What's the recommendation on the front? Can we, or is it two separate issues? or-
I'm taking it as one aspect at a time. John, go right ahead.
There's three issues, if we can recap. One is the rear deck, we just take them in order that way. Two is the aluminum siding, and three is the gable.
Right.
We're talking about the gable as a completely separate item, so.
Sure.
I have a neighbor that did the same thing. He's got put vinyl siding on his house. It's not in the historic district, but in that gable, he found a scalloped, it's a very small gable.
Mm-hmm.
A scalp vinyl product to put up there. You can find hardboard as well. That'll simulate the same thing. I think the thing that sounds to me like what we're missing here is the scalloped edge that creates some character, or adds some character to a modest home. And I think that's important. Because it may be an investment property today, but it might be somebody's, it might be the thing that actually makes the sale for a homeowner that wants to buy it down the road because it stands out. But
Was the scallop
speaking
being
of somebody
removed?
that put on a second story balcony where there wasn't one, I went with the same decision matrix of what do we want, how do we want it to look until our choices.
Yeah.
And then on the back of the house too, which nobody can see the back of our little 8x10 porch, but, the I looked at both options, the vinyl versus the aluminum, and just from a safety standpoint, I felt better with the aluminum product for a porch. What we ended up doing was a combination of wood and then the aluminum spindles. And that's available as well too. There are other options that even though maybe somebody doesn't see it from anywhere, it's just they're better solutions than the vinyl. The vinyl to me just doesn't have the same safety factor that, especially with the height there, that you may need.
All right, so, but for the material on the railing, are we okay with the design?
Yeah, great.
Okay. So just a material issue, possible modification?
So we could look at either, say, a choice of a composite rail, hardy board, wood or metal, and allow them to choose in the same color. Would that be an option?
White, yes.
Great option.
Yeah. And this, of course, does not have to be decided tonight. You can certainly go back and revisit with contracting and come before us next month. But I mean, I just want to narrow down the discussion.
So anything other than vinyl?
Pretty much.
And I don't have to come back. Is anything other than vinyl? Is that what I'm hearing?
What about the gable?
Wait, no, we're only talking about the railing right now.
Talk about the railing.
Okay, let's just keep it to that. So, Jeff, the options that are available.
So like a composite material, hardy board, metal or wood, all in the same color, same design. And then if we approve that for that, then that would give them the choice, allow them to look at several different products without having to come back on that issue.
Okay.
So, do we need to make a motion
Well-
to add that, or we'll do that at the end?
Well, yeah, let's just work through this.
Okay.
All right. Next, the maintenance vinyl on the front of the house. This would make it consistent. Maintenance is allowed. Granted, it's from aluminum to vinyl, but that's actually a step up, and it would unify the front of this house.
And there was a portion of it was already this material to begin with.
Right.
I have one question. I didn't understand that the scallop was coming off, but John mentioned something about the scallop design.
That's going to be in the gable, and we're going to get to that in a moment. I'm going to now
Well,
I'm
I'm
going to.
talking about, it goes across the porch as well. This is not in the gable.
Okay.
So you would not change that scallop portion there, are you?
We think it's ugly, but, yeah, I mean,
It's like a gingerbread house, I love it.
we just don't like it. We don't like it. We have a right to say we don't like it. Even though you might like it, we don't like it.
Fair enough.
And the reality is, if it is deteriorating, we would have the right to simply remove it. Now, replacing it with something else, a different design, is a matter before us.
It's just poorly taken care of. We do.
But yeah, let's focus on the vinyl front, okay? Andy?
I have one question about if the siding on the front is a different size from the siding on the sides, exactly how is that going? Is it going to be a vertical board that transitions it, or because it's not going to match?
Yes, he said he would do something, and I don't know, down the side to make it fit. Now, all sides of the house are.
Like a little corner trim
Right,
piece or
he said he
something.
would do something there he said he would have to work on it, but he would make it transition.
Okay, what we're looking at now is that the side and.
This is the back corner.
Okay.
Take the scallop off in the back. Scallop is all the way on
Okay, well, I understand, and we'll get to the scout, but let's focus on the vinyl right now with the replacement. Are we okay with that as to the maintenance?
The vinyl,
Okay, Amanda, go ahead.
no, I'm fine with the vinyl because it is a maintenance issue and it was already there.
Okay.
The size being changed, and particularly at the front, and you see those corners, and even if they have a transition, that does not follow our guidelines. I mean,
If we could have gotten 7-inch siding, if he told us that was an option, then that's what we would have put up there. That's not, he told us that's not an option. This is your option. I mean,
About the only way you could hide the difference in the reveals would be if you put a flat trim board on each side of the corner and butted the aluminum into the side of it, just like wood siding does, and vinyl into the other side.
Right.
Normally vinyl is overlapped on that corner with the vinyl piece. That's the only way you're gonna hide that, otherwise it's gonna really show. But that is an option. And that could be a PVC material, which you can get real cheap. It could be pressure treated, or it could be hardy plank. But PVC comes white and durable, smooth, matches the vinyl. It's an option.
I mean,
but not a vinyl.
Not a vinyl corner.
Right.
Not putting a vinyl corner on.
Because there isn't one there now, so it's not.
all right, so where are we with the unifying the front and the maintenance with replacement vinyl?
I am also okay with the vinyl siding. I mean, again, I think 7 inches is an option. I'm not sure where he's looking, but if there was some type of confirmation or, from the builder that we absolutely cannot get 7, then you really don't have an option. I mean, I did a quick search and found a few products that are 7-inch vinyl. So, that would be ideal. Yeah.
I agree.
It is available, it's in some places.
I'm not really sure that I've seen the 5-inch.
I mean, I think
Not
you
in
can
our-
pretty much get whatever.
Yeah, it's
these days.
5-inch
oh, but it's every house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's several houses on this street that are 5-inch.
vinyl, so.
And the reveal doesn't matter, I guess the consistency of the reveal is the issue.
So, there's 7-inch, y'all will good with 7-inch.
7-inch vinyl.
Again, we're at a disadvantage, we're a consumer asking a contractor. And so.
And this is what,
And
and
this
that's
is,
what
this is
he
what
was
we're
able to,
told, so.
yeah.
Understand, sure.
And, we're at a disadvantage too, because, again, I don't know your rules. I think I've been 2 or 3 meetings in the last decade or more, so. I originally thought it really came back to that the shutters are terrible, right? And it was stained, took the shutters down, and so that led to, okay, we gotta get this up here. We thought it was just a maintenance issue, so.
We were replacing white and white, black shutters, but
Saw it as a maintenance issue, obviously, it's not.
trying to make the house look better than what it looks.
So anyway, but I guess from what I'm hearing, 7-inch, everybody's cool.
Is that it? Okay.
But
Maybe 6 months till we can.
now here's, he's got the 5-inch, it
No,
took,
he had to order.
he had to order, it took, because of, we were told, how long did it take to get here?
It took 4 months.
4 months to get here, so, anyway.
And he told us it was available too, and it's not.
So it's already ordered and here?
Yes.
clearly, you would prefer 7 to 7, okay? That's clearly the preference. As this would be maintenance and as it would bring uniformity, can you live with a 5? Because, you know, there is a way of looking at it that if it were 5, we'd be fine with 5. It's simply that consistency issue with the rest of the house. And clearly, if they were repairing the front of the house and updating it, presumably before too long, the rest of it's going to need the same sort of maintenance, and you would be consistent with the 5. Any thoughts along those lines?
I guess I'm just a little bit confused as to whether we would be following the guidelines doing that, but I'm open to consider that.
Just tossing it out, folks. Your thoughts? All right, let's talk about the gable.
Well, I saw one of the other photos that you showed, I think, of the back corner of the house, that the other gables are done this way as well, right? At least one of them was. Yeah.
Yeah, on the end gable, looks like.
And the scallops seem to go, do they go around
All the way
the
to
whole,
there.
under the eaves of the whole house? Or,
That's definitely there.
are they under the eaves of the whole house?
Do you have a picture of the other side? Jeff?
I have no idea.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like a new house.
Mm-hmm.
Like a builder house. Somebody would throw up like at the end of Glenwood.
The batten board and the scallop to me is a significant architectural feature on this house.
I agree.
I agree.
I myself am not crazy about the scallops, but
But it's part of the house. And to me, it's
but they are on, like, if they were rotten, it would be taking something off and you weren't replacing them.
Right.
That would follow our guidelines.
if it were replaced with wood.
You know,
Yeah.
what Amanda was saying, if they're rotten and they were removed and not replaced with anything, it would be consistent with the guidelines.
Well, you'd have to have a facial
Well-
to finish off the bottom, but I mean, if it were replaced, not with vinyl scallops, that, you know, but the board and batten being replaced with vinyl cedar shake it goes directly against
Yes.
our guidelines, unless it was, even if it's a new house, we would allow composite or something, but not.
That's what, the details like that on houses, whether you like it or whether you don't.
Right.
Any details, that's what sets that neighborhood apart, because the houses, all of them have such different, it's not a cookie cutter neighborhood at all.
No, I agree.
Every house is different, it has its own charm. To me, that's part of the charm of this little building is, I think it's quite attractive. But like you say, to cover that wood with the vinyl would be against our guidelines anyway.
Other comments? How essential is the gable in your plans?
I mean, we think it's ugly. Obviously, nobody else does. I don't know.
Well, I don't feel like we're making a judgment on what's nice or not on the house.
Right.
I'm-
Well, I would take issue, the other issue is that the house in the neighborhood, there are a lot of houses that don't match the character of the historic, just because of probably predating the district and so forth. So you can't make a comment that all the houses in
But, well, many, I live there,
but
so yeah.
some of them are, I agree. I live on North Avenue, so next to Amanda, so some of them are. Yeah, I think it's, personally, you know, I hear what you're saying, and I respect that. We're just asking that you, now, I don't want to not go by the guidelines. I think there's a lot of gray in the, in everything. So, Mr. Chairman, I think you were asking me as far as replacing the wood.
Yes, sir.
Yep. We either have to repair it because, I mean, again, and I think the bigger, I don't know what we call it, bed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's, so, you know, you gotta either take time to repair it, maintenance.
So, even if we put regular shakes up there and they weren't blank, that can't be done either. It has to stay with this.
What was your suggestion was what, again?
Billy?
If we do allow vinyl in the gable, there is a vinyl product that has this board and batten profile that I think you can get pretty close to matching. But there, I mean, there's also, you know, a composite wood material, you know, a board and batten type system from James Hardy that you can replicate the same look, and it's very low maintenance. I mean, it's almost like the vinyl.
The hardy board.
Have the wood grain. So there are other options, and I understand what you're trying to do, and I appreciate, you know, you're trying to make a house look better. But we do have to maintain, you know, historic details if we like them or not. And there are ways to do that other than just covering it up with, you know, a sheet of vinyl. I think your contractor should be more than capable of, you know, that's a pretty easy thing to do, to remove that old wood and replace it with a James Hardy flat product, and then the batten strips, and then paint it. It's pretty low maintenance.
Thoughts along those lines, sir?
So we're,
I mean, confused.
So, are you wedded to a shake versus the batten board? Is that, I mean, you really looking at replacing it with a shake style, or, because there's two questions, is the shake versus the batten board, and then, once you get past that, the material of what goes in there. Would you be willing to do this in like a composite material to have it look like this in the future, where you take the old wood off, put the hardy board on, and it basically looks the same as this when you're done, but it's a low maintenance product? Or do you really want to go to sort of the cedar shake look in there instead?
We could, I mean, we could look at it. I don't know.
Hardy makes the cedar shake as well.
Okay.
what was that? I mean,
They don't like the shake.
what'd you say, Jeff?
Hardy makes a cedar shake as well.
But it's composite.
Composite.
The shakes as well.
Yeah, the problem you're running into is that's right underneath the drip edge there, and you're getting that. Yeah, it's gonna be a continual problem if you just stick with wood, so to get away from that, that's where the composite material comes in.
Issues there.
Right.
Which is,
And,
do something.
you know, none of us wants to get up on a ladder and paint. We're taking, my question is, we're getting rid of that attic vent altogether.
Yeah, we're just repairing the vent, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Because in the drawing, it's,
Repairing or
Well,
you're covering, yeah, I thought you were covering it up, weren't you?
no,
Yeah, we're not covering it up.
Oh,
It's
okay.
gonna, yeah.
so it,
No, it's gonna remain.
it'll remain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing is gonna go around.
yeah, that's
The
a
repair
bad
attic vent.
rendering, yeah.
Right, and so the question is, do you say they have to have this look, or can they go to the shake look? And then if so, can they replace either way with the composite material?
That's a good.
Okay. What I'm supposing here, clearly if the batten board layout that we're seeing here is replaced with hardy board or composite material, you'd be okay. Next question, what if they did a composite material of the shake? Thoughts there?
The other gables on the house are like this one, so that's gonna make it different.
They would have to be replaced. They would have to be replaced also.
I mean, the front of houses don't always match the rest of the houses, even in newer homes, do they? A lot of times the materials are different.
What do you say to that, folks?
It's a significant change in architectural feature on the house.
It does. I agree. And the cedar shake, and architects, tell me if I'm wrong here, but that is usually with the craftsman style, which like the new house, everything was of that era. Whereas this doesn't have any of the other craftsmen, or does it? Cute little cottage.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's, yeah.
Bungalow, like a cottage.
I mean, I don't think the cost difference between the two is going to be, I mean, either way you go, Hardy board and batten or Hardy shake is going to be similar in cost.
Also, another thing, this house is not a very tall, the height of it, from the pictures at least, it's not a very tall house. You are cutting, right now, with the board and batten, it's all painted white. If you put cedar shake up there, it would be a color, it would not be white.
Would be white as well, correct?
It's white.
It could be one.
It would be white cedar shake. Oh, well that,
Everything's white.
now that,
This,
if it's,
it's just a different material. I mean, everything is white.
Okay, so again,
refer to the guidelines.
clearly, board and batten and hardy board or composite material is fine. So the question is, we get the material that you're requesting. What are your thoughts towards the change of a design going to the cedar shake instead of the board and batten?
Our guidelines don't approve that.
Okay?
Says replace original building materials in kind when repair is not an option. That would not be in kind.
Okay. Other thoughts, comments? What are your thoughts for going with the board and batten and in the composite material?
But it doesn't sound like we have another option, so.
I don't know, I mean, I guess I don't know if the vote's gonna be called, or what the motion is, I don't know the procedures.
Well,
I mean, so, we're agreeing to, I don't even understand the terminology, again, just not changing, no shake, it has to be the same.
Same look, correct. So it'd be, you could be replaced with the composite material in the same look.
You like shake, but you just don't like it in regards to replacement. You can do new construction shake, but you can't do replacement.
Because
You
it's a
can
different
replace it.
architectural style house in the previous
So
application.
the previous application, they can have a new house in shake.
They're not, one, it's a different style, and two, they're not, and because it's new, they're not replacing it, and that's where.
Okay. So it looks like we don't have a choice.
Now, we could call for votes on each aspect, but as there's been discussion for some modifications from the initial application, we certainly can hold off, let you speak with your contractor further for further options, or get further discussions to come back to us next month, however you'd like.
No, we have exposed wood that's being rained on and everything else, we need to get the house dry, so.
All right.
So we can vote on this, and then if they decide they want to do something different and try to bring it back, we would keep the application open and available.
That would be great.
Backwards.
All right, keeping this simple. The back of the house, the addition of the deck, composite material, and railing not of vinyl, but of any of the other options Jeff went through. Is there a motion? A motion from Andy, second from John, discussion.
It's gonna stay. The scallop is, did we?
This is for the deck.
Not the
This is
back.
just the back deck, okay? So for motion, second, anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, so the back deck, been approved with that modification.
Right.
Next, the vinyl siding in the front of the house. Just the vinyl siding, we'll get to the gable later. Vinyl siding replacement of the existing mixture through maintenance to a vinyl with the 5-inch. Being consistent, yes, sir.
And a transition,
Yeah,
And the transition.
transition of the
Right.
corners,
The corners.
on the corners out of,
a transition.
Composite material.
Out of a composite material.
They do
Okay,
The transition on the side.
on the corners.
Corners where they'll match up, the two different sizes will match up.
Yeah.
All right. With that, is there a motion? A motion from John, second from Amanda. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. All right. Let's get to the gable, folks. What are we doing? I'm not hearing good things regarding change to cedar shake. Do you want to deal with that tonight, or do you want to give that some further thought and come back?
We only have we only have one option, right? I mean, and that's, if we do anything, it's gotta look like this, and whatever material you said is appropriate.
With what's been presented, modification of placement of the wood with composite material in the same design, that would certainly be approved, undoubtedly, okay? I'm not hearing anything favorable regarding the
Shape.
shape design of the composite material.
So that's it. I mean,
But I mean, if you're okay with that modification, I can put it forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that modification, is there a motion?
Make a motion that we approve.
A motion from Bill, second?
Here.
From John? Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Does that cover it, Jeff? Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you all for your Now, on to VAR 2029.
That's the body, the trim, and the door.
The applicant is requesting approval to repaint the structure at 812 West Whitner Street in the West Side Historic District. The property was previously a office building.
Amanda.
And the applicant is seeking to repaint the structure in the following color scheme. Maison Blanche, the body of the house, creamy is the trim, and urbane bronze would be the window trim and the floor. And those colors are being passed around right now. When reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 3 of the Residential Design Guidelines for Rehabilitation of Historic Resources. Following sections apply to this request. The policy states that you need to preserve primary historic building materials whenever feasible. Using the historic color scheme is encouraged. Base or background colors should be muted. And reserve the use of bright colors to accent building features only. The board must decide that proposed changes meet the above criteria. This is, while disregarding the roof on this picture, because it would not be a red roof, this is sort of the look that they're trying to achieve for the house. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have for staff, and the applicant is here tonight as well.
All right. Paint, attractive colors, seem to be in the profile of what we've approved in the past. Thoughts, comments?
Beautiful.
Taking on a big project, and I think, stepping in the right direction. Is there a motion? A motion from Jill, second, I see from Bill. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you so much. All right. And now on to BAR 2030.
The applicant is requesting approval for the new signage on the property at 118 North Main Street in the downtown historic district. The property is home of Equitable Advisors. This is the previous sign, it was Access Advisors. We're changing to Equitable Advisors, same material, same size sign. There is also a window graphic on the door that will change to reflect the new logo as well. Again, when reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 8 of the Downtown Design Guidelines, which are the signs. Following sections apply to this request. Policy states to design a sign to be about the overall character of the property. Appropriate signs include both the flush-mounted wall sign and the window signs that are being considered. And a sign should be in character with those seen historically. The board must decide if proposed improvements meet the above criteria. If approved, the applicant must complete the sign permit process with the building and planning department. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Staff and applicant is here as well.
Existing metal with vinyl graphics replaced with same material, dimensions. Any concerns? And vinyl graphics on the door, is that right, Jeff?
Correct.
Any concerns there? We have the material we need, information. Is there a motion? Motion from Amanda, second, I see Mary Lou. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thanks so much. And finally, for the public hearing, BAR 2031.
The applicant is seeking approval to repaint the first floor storefront of the building at 130 North Main Street. The property is the home of Brews on Main. The first floor of the building will be painted in a new color scheme. The trim, it will be meteorological, and then the base, the wood here, and the front door would be in the bone.
That would be great. Yeah, super. They tend not to.
They're the bottom right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did, look at that. Okay. These two, this.
Again, when reviewing this application, the board should focus on the standards set forth in Chapter 10 of the Downtown Design Guidelines for colors. Following sections apply to this request. 10.1, use colors to tie together the entire storefront. And 10.2, when choosing a color, consider the context or major colors on the surrounding building. Another consideration is that they have two other locations which have a similar color scheme. So they're trying to keep all their locations tied together with a similar
What are we doing with that?
color scheme.
Okay.
Oh.
With that, again, I'm happy to answer any questions you have for staff and the applicant here tonight as well.
Okay, good. Oh, yeah.
Forget that.
Yeah. The rainwater is growing. Yeah, these two.
Okay. Not the right one. Very attractive.
Give everyone a chance to look that over. Had a chance to look it over, everybody's okay with this? Attractive colors, meeting guidelines, any thoughts, comments, concerns? Is there a motion? A motion from Moyer, second from Bill. Anything further? All in favor? Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I believe there's something to review with us tonight, Bill. An addenda?
Yes, a quick item that will probably come before you next month. Let's do it this way. So this is a sort of a little different item than we've seen before. So this is Ralph Little's printing business here. Back here, they would like to do an installation for a satellite internet provider. It is not a tower, though, which is what I thought originally it was going to be. And so what it is, it's more of a satellite dish and a fenced-in enclosure. So you can see that on the ground. That's what it would actually look like sitting there. For a size comparison, he provided us with this to show you the size of it, and be within a fenced-in enclosure. I've already addressed the issue of a wood stockade fence instead of the chain link fence, and they were perfectly happy with that. So it is something a little different. First, I thought it was more of a typical cell tower, radio mast sort of unit there, but it is a satellite dish on the ground instead. So by our standard zoning, it can be allowed to go there. They're going to lease a little portion of that property to put this installation in. And so, but sort of more of the fence than anything else would really be what the board would be reviewing rather than the use. And so we have already talked to him about making that change. They've done it in a historic district elsewhere and said they've done that there as well. So he thought that would be no problem at all.
Well, that was a key component. Thank you for addressing that with them early on.
Right, and so this should be on your agenda next month, but just in case something else pops up in your mind about it, just let me know. But just something we hadn't seen before, so I just wanted to give you a little heads up that this will be coming your way.
Reasonable. Any other considerations you have to pass on?
And this is for little,
Basically, you could have a service with them as your internet provider, but it's a satellite base. So they connect into the fiber optic network that is in the road there. And then the signal gets beamed through space and, to the satellites above, and you get internet service that way.
And it's back behind little printing.
So
but who?
you would contract with them like you would with Charter for internet service.
So who's the applicant?
I don't know, Tom Hodges, I think was his name, but I don't know the company name.
It's not it's for little printing.
No, this would be.
That's where it's located.
You as a private citizen could contract with them like I have Charter internet at my house. You would contract with this company to be your internet provider like Charter or AT&T or somebody like that. So.
But it is in the historic.
The Fourth Street is in the historic district, so.
And it's not the city that would own it, or?
No, it would be a private business leasing property. I think Ralph Little owns all that there as part of his printing business. And so they'd be leasing a location from him to put the equipment in, and then we would review mainly the fence on that, so.
Okay, very good. And next on the agenda, approval of the minutes from last month. So I'm always thankful for what you do. I would suggest, and I understand why you didn't include it, but I think it would be important to add that regarding the discussion of solar panels, that I've stated and the board concurred that further research and study would be in order so as to best review and make determination on this important issue. Just want to clarify that when we did pass on it, there was a reason for it, and as we'll see tonight, we did follow through with that discussion in that direction. Thank you. With that, any further corrections, deletions, or modifications to the minutes? Is there a motion? We have motions from Moyer, second. Bill, thank you. Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Anything further tonight
No, sir.
from anyone? Thank you for your attention, patience, and consideration. We're adjourned.